to the Covestro Arena at K 2022. Thank you for joining us. There are a few seats available still here in front. They're the best seats of the house. Have a seat. Now we want to go fully circular. We want to talk about joint solutions because we're all about crafting connections, bringing people together to find solutions together to advance the circular economy. And we have three wonderful guests, so please give them a big round of applause before I introduce them. Come on, guys.
Thanks.
All right, so raise your hand. Who here knows the brand and the company Freitag? Oh, wow. Impressive, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, who owns a Freitag product? Okay, quite a few, because Freitag actually has become a shining example of a company who's made it a business model to actually sell circular products, to have that approach to close the loop when it comes to manufacturing these products. I want to introduce the panel from left to right, starting with Oliver Brunschwiler. He's a delegate of the board of directors for Freitag. Ollie, good to have you here. Hi.
Thank you for having me here.
And then next is Henning Eichhorn. He's a business responsible for business development and key accounts at Heytex.
Welcome.
And we'll find out what Heytex does in a minute. And then we have Mark Scheller. He's responsible for the TPU segment at Covestro. Mark.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. So, to explain to the audience what Freitag is actually doing, I wanted to go through the whole value chain and to explain how this product that then ends up as a bag made from circular tarp, actually how it starts. I want to go backwards and start with you, Ollie. So tell us what the product is, what Freitag actually does, and I will go to Henning when you tell us how you get the material for the product.
Yeah, well, actually, it's quite simple. It's a business model we founded 30 years ago by two brothers, Daniel and Marcus Freitag, Swiss guys, so we're a Swiss-based company. And what we do is actually we take used truck tarp, so we buy used truck tarp from transit routes from all over Europe, a couple thousand tons per year, and upcycle bags and accessories out of them. The beauty and the beast at the same time of the business model is that each piece is unique. So that means every product has a certain design or looks completely different.
Because it's a different part of the tarp.
Because it's a different part of the tarp, and you cut it differently. So in all our distribution, global distribution, we have to make sure that on every touch point, you see a nicely color selection. So not just blues like we have here, for example, but also reds and yellows. So it's quite complex to actually do that, and it's PVC. So it's a very simple material. We can only give it a second life, as we call it. We like it when it's slightly fucked up, as this is. The Japanese call it wabi-sabi, the beauty of imperfection. And that's how we like to buy it. So it must be 5 to 10 years old in order to give it a second life as a product.
So just so I understand it, you didn't start with the sort of the circular approach, because back then no one was actually talking about circular economy, but you started with the upcycling idea. So as you said, give a product a second life, right?
Exactly. So we were at that time a recycling pioneer. Still today we are a recycling pioneer. But in our company purpose reads intelligent design for a circular future. So that means everything triggers to that purpose. So it's our shining star. So circular design can be everything. Can be organizations, processes, products, materials. Everything can be intelligently designed in order to achieve a circular future.
So how do you actually then get the tarp? You're not going to the trucks and just ripping the tarp off. This is where Henning comes in, right?
Not directly. Not directly.
Not yet. Huh?
Not yet.
We got approached years ago by Freitag with the idea, the vision of this described completely new business model. And we said, yeah, we want to take part of this, because even our brand new nice truck tarpaulin, which is originally developed for a truck tarpaulin, which has to be on the road for 5, 6, 10, 12 years, It is not as attractive as your product. So probably the brand Heytex is not as popular as Freitag in this round.
To explain, this is what you do as a company, right? Heytex produces these truck tarps.
Yeah, exactly. We have our own weaving mill. We buy yarn, we do the weaving, we do the coating with PVC, with TPU, different technologies. And we sell these materials to converters. They cut it in length, they made holes, they reinforce, and they sell it to logistic companies. Then they do the printing advertisement that's running banners for 6 or 7 years. And then from these, after 5, 6 years on the road, then it's getting direction Freitag. And then we see it again, and our people, our experts, they get it back, used truck tarp, and then try to touch and feel, is it Heytex or is it something different? It's hard to define the difference. But in the future, then they had the new business model for a circular tarp, and we said, yeah, we want to coat a circular tarp for that, to bring the good tarp on the road.
So let's take the last step then. Henning gets the material to produce the tarps from Covestro, right?
Exactly. He gets the material from us as a raw material. But for this project, there comes something new in, which is in general new for my job role in business development, because at the end we get the end product, the Freitag bag or something like that, back, and we have to chemically recycle it to close the loop. And this is something new. We didn't have this in the past, and we have now more and more projects where we get approached by customers. And you can see crafting connections. This is a key point for us. We need to do it, otherwise we could never manage such a project. Yeah, and
I think we have to explain that, because you said you chemically recycle it. In general, the old way was to mechanically recycle things, so you just shredded them and try to, create new raw materials from it. So tell us a little bit, how that changed for you.
For me, in business development or conducting projects...
Yeah, is there a new technology that enables you to chemically recycle it now?
Okay. The chemical recycling itself is not yet finished, so we cannot do it at the moment. And when we started the project, it was clear to everyone that this is not a solution that we have right now. But on the other hand, we are working heavily on it. You can see it on the booth, yeah, sure. Many colleagues, many are sitting here, are working on it. And you have a truck tarp, it's 5 to 7 years on a truck. Then you have a Freitag bag, which lasts forever, basically. So that means we are going in parallel to the solution. So when the first bags coming back, we would be able to chemically recycle them, and then you have a difference to the standard mechanical recycling, which is a downcycling, and it was a no-go. We discussed it extensively in the beginning, but it's a no-go for Freitag. They want really to close the loop. That means for chemical recycling, you have a polymer. In this case, it should be TPU. You cut it down to oligomers, to monomers, which go back into the cycle, like virgin material.
So, Olli, tell us about the business model. What changed? I mean, you started with the upcycling of the products. At what point did you decide, well, we have to go, circular. We want to really close the loop. And how did you approach it?
I said it before. After 4 billion years of our planet's existence, it took us 200 years to actually change the biosphere, and with technology. And now we saw that this goes into a wrong direction. So we as a company, we just take responsibility and say, okay, everything we use should be in a cycle. So it should not end up as landfill, or you have to burn it or whatever. Because we believe and think and act in cycles in our company in general. So now it might take another 10 years for us, together with partners, which is super important because we're a small company. We need partners that know the technology to actually close our cycle, our own cycle. But it's only a small part. So we're only like 0.1% of the circularity gap that we can close with our own business model, changing from recycling or upcycling to fully circular. And we're not there yet, but we started the journey because we think we can make a business out of it in the future. So we just want to be forerunners and not last runners. And that's why we started quite early and we found partners with open doors. Some partners, not all of them, were open to actually start the journey and invest into that and use it also as a communicative initiative for the brand to initiate other projects. And that's why we initiated it too.
So tell us then, what is the status quo? What is the current status, and how does the future value chain look like then?
The current status is actually we still use a couple thousand tons per year of PVC, which is only a second life material. In the future, in the next 5 to 10 years, we're currently prototyping on trucks new materials that will be fully circular. But we're not at the stage where we know what our future business model would be. Is it that we will still buy those old truck tarps and be the owners of it, or who will be the owner of it? So do we have to own the material at a certain point? Who has to own the material? And there will be in the circular economy, these will be the major questions for a lot of companies in general.
Absolutely, it's quite interesting because Henning, you have to then convince your customers to switch from PVC, which is, well, I guess more affordable than other materials, but then again, bad for recycling, to go on this journey with you, right?
Right, that was exactly how TPU came into the game, because we heard about this chemical recycling in years. And as the truck tub runs for years, so we work in parallel. And even we heard that probably we do not have to separate the TPU and the polyester because we can all throw into one big reactor. However, I'm not a chemist. That was the idea about it. And the good thing is, in our industry, we needed to have someone who wanted to start that approach, even if it's only 0.1% or whatever, or the circular gap. We need someone who wants to have it, who has that vision, and that is the first step. And the status is we have produced at least 2 colors. We passed the requirements which are necessary for the truck tarpaulin, FR requirements, UV and so on, because the material is not developed for a backpack at the end, it's for the 6 years truck tarpaulin. We passed that, and now we have to look for how is the printing. We need the right reinforcement materials for the future. The converters have to probably adapt their process a little bit for the welding. That's all the next steps. At first, we have a technical solution.
So, Mark, what changed at Covestro then? I mean, did you have to specifically develop something, a new flavor TPU that caters to this truck tarp?
No, not necessarily. We have a very wide portfolio, and in the beginning there was some discussion which process technology we are using. But it was clear that Heytex is a partner because they were in the value chain from the beginning. Freitag knows Heytex and so on. And therefore it was clear that it's calandering technology, who knows it. And then we know, okay, we need a certain material out of our portfolio that is suitable for calandering technology, which is not really so exotic. What is special here is that the vision to have chemical recycling to fulfill the circular economy, that was the specialty here in this project. And yeah, we had to openly say, hey, right now we have not a solution, but this project fits perfectly towards Covestro because I think it was half a year ago we announced we are becoming fully circular. Yeah, that was our main goal, and I was sitting there and listening to this vision of Freitag, and they just explained what their vision is. Yeah, put the information or the bomb into the round table, and saw afterwards what has happened. And then we were really, for weeks, months, in close contact when we were discussing how to go on, what are the challenges. Yeah.
It's really fascinating to me that sort of Freitag as a company started this, even though they didn't have anything to do with the truck tarps per se. So you sort of advancing it to upcycling 2.0, so to speak. But I still want to understand how you then close the loop. So, why you start with the material, you give it to Heytex. They produce the new TPU tarp. You get the tarp after about roughly 7 years when it's no longer used for the trucks. So when I buy the bag, at some point, can I then give it back to Freitag and you'll then recycle it chemically so that eventually it'll be another truck tarp?
Absolutely, that might be part of the business model, that you actually don't even have to buy the bag.
Okay.
When you buy it.
Like a subscription.
Right. So depending on the length of your journey with our product, that might be your price. Mm-hmm. It might be that we can still extend the life cycle of the product. If not, if you used it too much, if it's not repairable anymore, we can completely recycle it. And the art in the final business model will be to use as less CO2 as possible in that process, because recycling sounds fantastic in a lot of industries, but it swallows old CO2 energy. So the full art in closing that cycle is a smart, intelligently designed business model.
So one aspect that is really important to us here at the arena, because we'll focus on it pretty much every talk, is the topic of coming together, finding joint solutions, collaborating, connecting. And it seems like an unlikely partnership at first. And then when you talk about it, it makes so much sense. So yes, of course. I mean, why not bring more people like you guys together? So give that to the audience. What can other companies, other people learn from these solutions, from this partnership?
I think it's all about collaboration. As I said, we're a super small company. I mean, compared to Covestro, it's about 600 people, so 250 in Zurich. So global brand, well-known consumer brand, but we had no experience in terms of material science. So we built up a small team, which are not here, should be here today, actually. And that's about it. So we started to partner up and to find partners that the doors were open to that vision. And that's how you start probably any journey. That's why this trade show is so good, because people meet up and they might collaborate also within. So I think the world is about collaboration, skills in the future.
So the message is to just look left and look right and really connect to people. Because Henning, I mean, also for you, what was your motivation to actually talk to Freitag? I mean, you were selling your products. Why would you have an interest in working with Freitag?
It was the vision, as I said before. We as Heytex, we have a green roadmap, and we are very much involved in sustainable production, green power, recycled yarns, whatever. We do whatever we can. We have a focus on sustainable applications, for example, membranes for biogas. And we know that for the future, we need to change a business model, and we need to understand the expectation of Freitag. Then we have to bring in the expectation of the converter, of the welder, of the printer, whatever, and bring all this together to material suppliers. But at the end, we have the loop. Whenever the bags, the truck tarpaulins are collected, they have to get back into the loop, into the chemical loop, and that is Covestro. But this is nothing which Heytex can do. We are a producer and not a chemical concern, big group. We are small as well compared to Covestro, but this is our intention. We have to close the loop, and we have to be prepared for that for the future.
Mark, what was the motivation of Covestro to actually collaborate and find these joint solutions?
As I said, when we were approached and saw the title of the project, and they explained their vision, it was clear after 5 minutes, this is a Covestro project. So, and that was the first I told to my colleagues, this is whatever quantities are behind it, because I have also to think about quantities, prices, and so on. Whatever quantities behind it, this is a Covestro project, because you have to start somewhere, and even if it's 0.1%. And so it was clear that we, at the end, will have what Heytex and Freitag will need, because we are heavily working on chemical recycling, and only then we can fill the vision of this project. So therefore, it was a no-brainer for us.
You didn't have to convince your
No,
bosses.
and also internally, when the news spread, it got to my boss. He said, "Wow, that is good." It got to the boss of my boss. He said, "Wow, that it goes." It got one level up. She said, "Wow, that's good." So everyone was like, "This is a Covestro project." So for us, it's a no-brainer. We fully support it. With whatever we can, we are working on chemical recycling. Yeah, it was an easy decision.
Just this morning, I talked to your CEO, and he's a big fan. So, I mean...
Yeah, you see, he knows it.
Yeah.
He knows it.
He knows it.
He knows not any of my other projects. I have to say. So, yeah.
Wonderful. So, for me, it goes to show that, actually, a utopia, an idea can actually become reality, because so many times we talk about circularity and making it happen, but there's so many obstacles to overcome. And this is really a shining example of someone who's, started with an idea and then made it a reality. You're on your way. I'm sure, we probably face a couple more challenges, but still, we're looking forward to seeing the results. At this point, since we have a few minutes left, I want to open it up to the audience. Do we have any questions from the audience for these three fine gentlemen when it comes to either the products or the process, the value chain, the business model? Anyone? Yes.
Thank you for this talk, very inspiring. So I have a question regarding the Tarp you have with PVC. Do you have solution for recycling them with the PVC on this?
PVC? PVC recycling, you mean?
Yes, I mean, now you are using Tarp with PVC, so do you have a solution with PVC as well?
We tried for a couple of years, actually, to recreate a performative material out of used PVC. But it's not designed for that, right? So it's designed for a certain purpose, which is on the outside of a truck as a side curtain for a couple of years, can be dirty, but not for consumer product. So that means the capabilities of PVC as it is today, at least as we use it, truck tarp, is not capable of getting into a new cycle.
I may help you on this.
I heard that a couple of times before, but thank you. Welcome.
Any other questions? Any questions for Freitag, Covestro, or Heytex? We don't have any questions. I want to know, so what's happening right now? What are the next steps? What are you currently working on? Each of you? Ollie, you want to start?
We are working on our second prototype. Prototype means we have...
So you had the first one, and then...
We have a truck on the road that is currently testing one of our first materials. And now there's a second truck going on the road, which is like real-world testing. So it will be on a transit route through Düsseldorf also.
So you're working with a logistics company, and they give you feedback on,
Does
what
it
do they
work for
expect?
them? Because in collaborations, empathy is super important, because you have to understand the business model behind your partners. So you also have to fit your expectations to your partner's expectations. And that's why we do this all together with partners.
Wonderful.
Yeah, as you said, some small trucks are prepared for the road. Then we are working in parallel to improve. We have some challenges for sure. We are working on the TPU reinforcement strips, that finally we get these mass of side curtain materials on the road, and therefore we have to get the supply chain printing, reinforcement strips and so on involved as well.
And you currently have these two colors. I mean, you may have noticed that Covestro is all about diversity in colors, right? So more colors are coming.
You can print every color on it.
Yeah, it will be very contrasty, so to say, because watch out for a Freitag truck. On the left side, it is in white. It's a different solution, not TPU, because it's a competition of several solutions, and we are okay with competition. And on the right side, it is black. So it's really, you have the white and black, and if you see something like this, and it's also a printing with Freitag prototype 002, that is our solution, and we are fighting for the win at the end.
Wow, sounds really exciting. So last chance for you to get your question in. Do we have any? If not, I say thank you very much for taking the time, come here and talk about the project. I wish you nothing but the best for the future endeavors. So maybe in the next K, we can talk about not a prototype, but a real product. So hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, everything works fine.
We'll drive a truck up here.
Yes, please do. All right. Thank you, Ollie, Henning, and Mark.
Yeah, thank you.